What if the moment that nearly broke you was actually the one that saved you? Today's guest, Helen Parker, knows what it means to rebuild from the inside out, and her story will ignite something powerful in you. Welcome back to the High Vibe Honey podcast, a space where power meets peace, frequency meets finesse, and the next level doesn't require you to hustle harder, just calibrate deeper. I'm your host, Katie Rogers, feminine leadership, emotional alchemy, and embodiment coach for high performing women who are done chasing and are ready to collapse time into deeper embodiment, devotion, and desire. Today, I'm joined by the radiant Helen Parker. Helen is a clinical hypnotherapist, confidence coach, and the founder of Complete Confidence, a transformational movement helping women to reclaim their power by leading from the heart, not hustle. After life-changing brain surgery, Helen left her high-flying corporate career and retrained in neuroscience-based hypnotherapy. With over 2,000 clinical hours and a decade of experience, she now guides women to embody confidence as a felt experience rooted in identity, emotional connection, and feminine leadership. Her mission is simple yet profound: to empower every woman to reclaim her divine right to complete confidence. And now, through her complete confidence method, Helen helps women to reclaim the truth that confidence isn't built, but it's remembered. It's the fire in your hips, the knowing in your being, the embodiment of your wholeness. And her company, Experience Carnival, a unicorn of a business based in Rio de Janeiro, provides people with the platform to unleash their spirits in the greatest celebration on earth. Helen, I'm so happy to have you here on the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a really real honor to be on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Your story is insane, extraordinary. And as somebody I know, I really just see so much power for you, and I'm so excited to share all of this. So I think you will do a much better job of me. So can you go take us back to this kind of turning point in your story, this moment of your emergency brain surgery, and how that then changed the trajectory of your life?
Yeah, sure. It was 11 years ago. So it was January 2014. I should probably just say a little bit before that because it's important actually in terms of where I am now and also what happened really in that rebirth moment of my life.
Yeah.
I've been in a corporate job for 14 years at one company, working for O2, the mobile phone company, and then their parent company, which is a Spanish company, Telefonica. And I'd been in this real workaholic phase of my life. I was the classic
Mm.
work hard, play hard woman, really. And I love my job in the main, in the majority of the time, I loved it. I was very lucky to have found a company that really believed in me and let me have a lot of freedom as corporate jobs
Mm.
go. So I was an entrepreneur. I used to create things from scratch within the business, and I was given a lot of freedom. And in the latter stages, so the last 8 years of that career, I was in social impact. So I was able to create big programs starting in the UK that then spread to Europe and then into South America, which were all about changing people's lives for the better through the power of ideas and giving people the opportunity to put their ideas into action. And so they could make things happen. Okay. Yeah, so with backing young people it was and giving them the opportunity to put their ideas into action and then create from that space. And it was always about, really, for me, it was always about people, seeing people in their true potential,
Mm.
and giving them the platform, the support, the guidance to really just be them and put their mark into the world and do it
Mm.
for the benefit of others. But there was a shadow side to this. I had no off switch at all, and
Yeah.
I never valued my health. I never really valued my self-care. At a base level, I just didn't love myself at all. I had a very, very low self-worth.
Mm.
And it would really show up in a lot of masking. So it's like, I'm okay, I'm confident, I'm in control, but really I wasn't. And
Yeah.
the cracks used to really come for me, and I used to go through cycles of boom and then bust, and the bust would show up in depression. And I
Yeah.
was quite a depressive person, even though when you would look at me, you'd think, oh, she's so happy, she's really together, her energy and all of these things, but I was masking a lot. So when I was going into 2014, I was coming out of quite a severe depression in my life in 2013. I'd just been promoted to an even more senior level, but I'd just become so detached from the actual cause of it. Like I was so removed from the young people in the program at that point. My heart wasn't connected, and I was just
Mm.
really sad because I just spent my days basically dealing with contracts, legal, uh, dealing with basically trying to get people to work together, conflict,
Yeah.
politics, internal politics, and I was just really disconnected. And I would, I just started to come through that through my own work. Really, I wasn't on antidepressants or anything, but I was just coming through that. And then on Christmas Day, my best friend had sent me an outfit that she'd got me to be in the Rio Carnival on a float. And I ran round my mum's house screaming my head off with joy because it was like my dream.
Yeah.
It just felt, oh, this is it. And I was so into it and I was so excited. I was like physically training within an inch of my life because I wanted the Brazilian bum, and I was
Hmm.
with a personal trainer, I was running, I was doing everything. So I was
Yeah.
really, really physically fit. And then it was like the 15th of January, and I just woke up and I just felt like sore all over initially. Like I just thought I'd overdone it in the gym and with running and all the things I was doing. I just thought I had muscle strain.
Yeah.
That was a Wednesday. And by Friday I was in A&E because it got so severe that I couldn't actually lift my right leg at all. And so I rang 111 and they talked me through questions, and the output of those questions said you need to get an ambulance now. You need to get into
Wow.
A&E now. And by Saturday morning, they'd CT scanned me and they'd found a mass the size of a golf ball in my prefrontal cortex, so up here on the left. And it was
Mm.
sat on my right motory tract. So it basically stopped all the movement to one side of my body, the right hand side, which is the masculine energy side, which is important actually
Yeah.
with my whole journey. And then by Monday, I'd had emergency craniotomy at Charing Cross in London. So
Wow.
I was literally stopped in my tracks. So there was no other way for me at that point than was to go inward, because this is
Yeah.
somebody who'd always masked through never stopping, just onto the next thing, doing this, doing that, busyness, wearing business
Hmm.
this kind of badge of honor. I'm so busy,
Yeah.
I'm so busy, I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Me, I'm so busy. And then it was like, now
Totally.
you're not busy because you can't be.
Yeah. Now you can't like and it's that thing. If you can't say no, your body will find a way to say no for you.
Yeah.
And I can totally relate to so much of what you're sharing about being in corporate, but with low self-worth, which it was something in myself I didn't recognize, but it was completely fueling my ambition in work because I wanted to prove that I was good enough and therefore like, hey, look, I'm worthy because I worked all these hours this week and look, I have this job that everyone thinks is really impressive. And that coupled with a desire to really help people as well. So I'd want to be doing everything for everyone, and it's completely exhausting. Um, but I'm wondering, with your experience as well, at the time when you were in it, did you recognize that connection to self-worth, or did it just feel like, well, this is just what I should be doing?
Yeah. It was the minute it happened to me, and I even got like the news that they'd found something in my brain, it made complete sense.
Mm.
It was like I'd already lived that timeline. And
Yeah, okay.
it was very upsetting, especially for my mum.
Hmm.
I had a different interaction with my dad during the real kind of heightened crisis of the situation.
Mm.
But my mum really fell to pieces. And it was upsetting for her because I was saying things like, I know this is meant to happen to me. And when
Yeah.
you're looking at your child in a hospital bed who can't move,
Yeah.
She was like, well, why are you saying this? But it was like a sense of relief that I
Mm,
could, it was my moment to start again.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'd never been more myself in my entire life, because when you go through like the sort of the veil gets thinner between life and death, you see your soul becomes more vibrant, because the bullshit, I hope I can swear on this podcast,
Yeah.
the ego drops, right? So your soul becomes just like activated.
hmm
We have this in other points in our lives, right? Through many other things, we're experiencing this kind of this flow,
Yeah.
and the ego drops and you get closer. So you you I had no fear. I could only see love. I could only feel love, and everything made sense, in the sense of like the bigger picture of connectedness. So I
Mm,
became this like, this, it's magnetism, but it's just representing what's already there, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
it happened in hospital, and I used to like hold court kind of thing, like this kind of northern Yoda, and I'd be in my bed and all the nurses would come and they'd come for their little sessions, and I'd be
I
giving
love
like
that.
just saying, oh, this is what I feel about it, and listen to their stories, and I could feel what people needed
Mm,
around me. So I became like super like telepathic. I think that's some of, I know now because I studied the brain after it, which is one of the things that I've done subsequently. But when the brain is injured, and because of the part of the brain where my injury was, is where your rational skills are, where your speech is. I didn't lose the power of speech, because not at all. I'm a talker anyway, but put me on steroids. I was like, la, 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 la. But it shut down that part. So I think it activated, because then the brain's very clever. The neurons will fire up around it. So
hmm
it starts to go into the parts of the brain. So I think what happened is that it activated other parts of my brain. So I was able to sense like when people were near me and when they were going to call me. And these things aren't gifts, that we all have it, right? We just shut down in our evolution the parts of the brain that came from,
hmm
because we became so analytical
Yeah.
and so in the kind of flow of doing, doing, and
hmm
the processing that needs to happen for that doing, because I couldn't do that. I couldn't do anything. So
Yeah.
I was just being. And so I could sort of sense when people were coming, when they were needing things. I was super connected to my doctor, and who turned out he was born the same year as me. He was from Greece. It was like I knew what his number what was, and his number was the same number on my door in rehab, like his medical number.
Wow.
And there was all of these synchronicities and things that were happening, which was quite intense at the time. And then obviously the Western medical industry will say, oh, it's just the drugs, or you don't really know really why it's happening. So that was then the start of a big healing journey for me, and
Mm,
an adventure of exploring all of these things and finding out more. But to answer one of your questions around self-worth, my best friend brought into hospital Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And that
wow.
book changed my life.
So
Yeah. I get
beautiful.
so emotional because she's dead now. She's just the most incredible human being, and still is.
Mm,
And that
yeah.
book really changed my life. And that book is only about self-love.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had a wonderful friend.
Yeah.
And one thing I just really want to reflect back to you that just gave me goosebumps when you were talking about it is this sense of like, I was love. I felt nothing but love because so often we'll go through something in our lives and we have a choice. Do you move with love now or do you move with fear? And it's so easy for fear to kick in. You know, you see that kick in with your mum and probably a lot of people around you who are worried about you, and a lot of people would have that response. But that inner knowing that you had of like, oh yeah, this is kind of like a remembering, like I've almost done this already. I know how this plays out. And then because you had such a beautiful connection to your love, you could trust that process. And also sounds like regain your power in that situation of this isn't happening to me. This is my opportunity to do my healing and to change the trajectory of my life. So, what power, Helen, you're absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it was the biggest gift apart from the birth of my daughter, which happened really because of the energetic place that I moved into through that unlocking. So my rebirth and her birth are intrinsically linked, because I wasn't scared anymore to say that she was my greatest desire of my life. You
Yeah.
know, I was asking for it, and I had 10 godchildren at the time. I've got 11 now, but I was telling all the nurses their names, and people were asking me, "Are you a mum?" And I was like, I'm not, but I've got these amazing godchildren, and they're the loves of my life. But
Yeah.
I've always wanted to have a little girl. It's the biggest dream of my entire life, but we don't name this stuff a lot as we get older because
Yeah.
we're frightened that, oh, it won't happen for me, or I'll be embarrassed, or someone will hear and
Hmm.
I can't really say it. But
Yeah.
when you're stripped and you've got no, you just say it.
Yeah.
And
You
so
speak into existence.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
she came really through my healing and the fact I just was doing exactly what I really wanted to do unapologetically in that time following it. And it wasn't always easy. Obviously, I went through a lot, and the amount of antibiotics I was on because I had actual it was bacteria that was in my brain that grew into an abscess. So they put
Mm.
me on such a high dosage of antibiotics for months that I had no education about what those antibiotics would do to my gut health.
Mm.
So that was really hard when that affected my brain health, and I didn't understand why because was in the best place of my life.
Yeah.
But
Building the booty for Rio Carnival,
and I
which,
was
by the
just,
way, I've seen this booty and it is elite.
you've been up close and personal with it, as I have yours. So you've got a really good bum. I said that bunny's bum is made for Rio, and I will have it on a float one day.
I think that's one of the
Mark my
first things
words.
you said to me when you saw me in person. And it was the biggest compliment. I was like, thank you, it's true.
Amazing.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, this is unbelievable, but tell us about how this then changed the trajectory and what you went on to do next after this.
Yeah, so I had to take 7 months off work in the end, which was
Mm,
I just couldn't fathom at the time what I would do without working. I'd worked since I'd been 11 years old. I'd had 4 paper rounds at 11. Then I went into waitressing. I had always had like multiple jobs.
yeah,
So I was like, what do you mean? First of all, I was like, what, I can't go back to work? They're like, no, you
yeah,
really can't go back to work. And I was like, oh, right.
yeah.
So I did some manic stuff. I signed up to teach myself, well, actually it was a course to learn how to code. I was like, I'm going to learn how to code.
Okay.
And I
I'm
went
like,
in,
of all the things I would do if I had all the time in the world, that
I
wouldn't be
was
at the top of the list.
I got around this course. I was like, I really can't do this. They had to give me all my money back because I just needed to go on a journey of self-love and
Yeah,
healing. And that was it,
yeah.
really. So I I really started to nourish myself from the inside out. Meditation, yoga came in. It was already there, a lot of this stuff, because I had some foundations,
Hmm.
but it I really went into self-healing and also a journey of I had psychotherapy, I was treated for PTSD, but I didn't really have it. But just talking through all of that and putting the pieces back together. And I ended up going back to my corporate job because, again, I think it was just written for me that I would get that support. So I didn't really have a lot to do for about 2 years in my job, but I got paid a lot of money. So it helped me just invest in myself.
Yeah.
So it was from everything. I did coaching, I did Reiki, 3 levels of Reiki. I just went into it, into the healing and those modalities. And I also just did everything in terms of what I wanted to do in terms of travel,
Mm.
adventure experience. Um, and it resulted in me being on the float in the Rio Carnival 1 year later to the day I walked out of hospital. Um,
Wow.
so I'd had a lot of downloads basically while I was in hospital about women. It was this whole thing that when I was in that sort of that love vibration, which I hope I'm still in, but obviously we're human. But when it was so fear comes in more, but when it was just love, I was so connected to women and female energy.
Yeah.
Even with my Greek doctor, I'd have these conversations with him and I said, the Greeks understood women, you idolized them, they were goddesses.
Yeah.
Talking about, and he was, because he was saying, women are different, Helen, they're stronger. And he
Yeah.
was saying it from a clinical perspective, but also from a human perspective.
Hmm.
And my name is probably the most beautiful name in Greece because when I go to Greece, they're like, Helen, Helen, because it's such a beautiful name for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So it was these seeds being sown about women, basically. And women have been a massive part of my life. My relationships with women are my pride and my joy. But I wasn't working with them. I wasn't
Yeah.
doing anything with them at the time. So I went back to my job. So there's a lot of there was things being planted. And then a year to the day, I got out of hospital, which was Valentine's Day. Um, I was on the float in the Rio Carnival. And I rehabilitate myself, learn to walk again, come through that initial stage. And it was just this moment of just complete self-actualization. I can't even describe it in any other way. And even from like the journey there, because I'd had to obviously cancel my trip because I couldn't move the year
Yeah.
before. And I'd rung BA from hospital, when a rehabilitation hospital, and I said, told them what had happened, and they were so kind.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, do you want a refund for your flight, or we can give you we can put it on a credit for next year, or." I said, "You know what, refund it because next year I'm going to fly, but I'll be flying business class." And I was sat in business class going to Rio.
Yeah.
And I had all this money, this money kept flying into me because I was just magnetic. So
Yeah.
I was just extra bonuses, insurance policies that paid out because of my illness and that I didn't know I had. And then someone found it and they said, "Oh, you can claim on this." I was like, "Oh my God," it was all of this
Wow.
stuff that was coming to me.
Mm.
And so I was sat in business class and I was like, "Oh my, this is," I was just so grateful. It was pure gratitude. I was practicing gratitude. I'd found the practice of gratitude as part of my own self-healing and it was just everything I got off when I got off the flow, which was like the pinnacle moment really. I grabbed my best friend and I was crying my eyes out and I was just so thankful that I'd had the opportunity that I was with these beautiful people in this culture where you could just feel everything and no one judges you. No one judges you in Brazil for feeling anything.
Yeah.
It's just you can be happy, you can be angry, you can be crying with a stranger
Mm.
and it's just so fluid, emotionally fluid. And I was just crying. I said, you've got to do something with this. You've got to help people access this feeling because everybody should be able to feel this way about themselves and about the world and the person
Yeah.
next to them. So that was a seed, and that was in 2015. And then as part of my own, initially just the exploration of really of putting the pieces back together of what had happened to me and all of the things. I'd gone down doing a lot of research about near-death experiences, and I'd gone to meet Dr. Penny Satori, who's one of the leading authorities on it. He was a nurse in A&E in Wales, in South Wales, and she became one of the leading authorities and still is on NDEs. And so
Oh,
I'd
wow.
I'd gone down that because it was there was quite a lot of loneliness for me as well in what had happened, because I was like, I don't think people understand. So I was trying to find people that would understand. Um,
Yeah.
I think, but then that led me into hypnotherapy. So I trained in hypnotherapy in 2015. I started just after I came back from Rio. And initially it was because I wanted to understand the subconscious.
Mm.
And I wanted to understand all the things that I was accessing through my brain surgery, the memories, the lucid nature of what I was able to visualize. I wanted to understand why that was happening in the science of the brain. I think at the time it was, again, it's part of sort of healing.
Yeah.
Loved it so much that I just started to practice it, because I was like, well, why would you keep something like this a secret? Like, if you can help
Yeah.
other people with it. So I just decided to take voluntary redundancy from my job at the end of 2016. I found out I was pregnant when I was in consultation. So she was the ultimate manifestation of me releasing
Wow.
any fear. Again, it didn't stop me, because I could have got scared and gone, oh, they can't sack me now because I'm pregnant legally.
Yeah.
We've got another stayed in the job. But I was like, no, I'm going to get more money out of them.
Yeah. Do you know what's amazing? What I'm hearing in your story again and again and again is like when you're on the right path, you are divinely supported. When you're going the right direction, it's like, hey, here's a load of money to help you out with this part. Hey, here's that baby that you wanted. Hey, like all of these things. And you really do feel those nudges of life. And the correlating thing I'm hearing with that as well is like, oh, I always had a choice between fear and love, and I always was choosing love. So
Yeah,
yeah, what a
yeah, it's all of
beautiful
that.
embodiment of that.
Yeah, it is. It is that. And it really is that simple. Sometimes I think we make things much more complicated than they are. Are you going to move
Yeah.
from love or from fear? So
Yeah.
I left the job. I had a load of money in the bank because I took the redundancy, and I became a mum, and it was the greatest dream of my life. And she's just spectacular. She changed my life. She's my everything. And then I just got back to work, because that's me.
Yeah.
And we created the business in Rio de Janeiro, sort of 2018. My business partner, my best friend who got me in, she's been there for 20 years living in Rio. She is
Yeah.
Brazilian, even though she's from North London. She looks Brazilian, she acts Brazilian. She's just Brazilian, right? So
Mm,
she was coming out of her career, which she'd had there as a real estate agent and had an agency. And she said, do you want to come and do it with me? Um, and so we launched that business, and it's an absolute passion. It's like one of the greatest loves of my life. Rio is my spiritual home.
yeah.
I love being there. I love everything about it, the food, the people, the energy, uh,
Yeah. And the
all of it.
emotional freedom sounds
Yeah, the
wonderful.
emotional freedom, the
I think,
fashion.
yeah, well, yeah. But when you were saying about that before, about just having the freedom to express your emotion around strangers and with just complete permission, it is rare and it is vulnerable, and how beautiful it is that we get to do that. So how wonderful to be around people who really explore and celebrate and encourage that too. It must feel like a whole new level unraveling.
Yeah, it is, and it's been such an intrinsic part, really, of the work that I've created around confidence, which is
Yeah,
my life's work, and it's an amalgamation of everything I've ever done, from my corporate sector job and all of those stories, like the tapestry of all the stories of the people that I've worked with, all those young
yeah,
people that were on the program, and this golden thread that binds them all together. It's like, I mean, I'm calling it confidence, but it's more than that. It's really just locking into who you are.
yeah.
And I think we're all doing the same work, really. We're just helping take people home.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was the cultural aspect and a lot of the the indications and the synchronicities that I got from being in Rio and being around these women, the queens of the carnival, these real goddesses, and watching them. I love to watch people, so I was observing
Yeah.
it all, and I was like, well, why are they moving so differently? Like, why are they like just they're not trying to be confident, they just are it. They're just in the embodiment of it and so
Mm-hmm.
humble and so sweet and lovely. And it's there's no disconnect. It's like
Yeah.
and to watch that sort of empowerment, like
Mm.
the true meaning of it, I'm just going to give my power to you. I'm going to give it. And that's going to set you free because that's what happens, when they're
Yeah.
when they're in front of like 200 drummers. They're not dancers, they're conductors of energy, and they're conducting
Yeah.
energy 90,000 people and millions of them watching on the TV. So
Yeah.
they're like portals, they're like an ultimate activator. And I get to meet them and be in lessons with them, like when there's just one of our clients or two of our clients and these women. And so I was just like, what is it? And then it just came and it's like, this is it. And so all of I've done like 2,000 plus clinical hours, and everybody I've worked with, one on one or in groups, it's always, I just need the confidence, right? I just need the
Yeah.
confidence to change. I need the confidence to stop being anxious, the confidence to go away from that habit and create a new one, or the confidence to use my voice. And so
Mm.
I was like, it was the start of this body of work that's really my life's mission, my purpose. It's a love letter from me to every woman out there who I know feels like I've felt in my life, and
Yeah.
and and to mesh this kind of this movement base and the somatic piece that dance gives you, or just
Yeah.
or moving with that and letting your body be the guide. And that's so important to women because
Really is. Yeah.
we just, if we don't feel it as women, we just don't believe it. And that's what happens, I think, when people fake confidence. You
Yeah.
get to a point where you just can't do it anymore because you just feel so trapped because you're not really yourself. And so,
Mm.
yeah, that's that's the work. That's what we're doing.
So stunning. You talk about confidence as something not that you build, but that you remember. And yeah, the way that you're articulating this story, it's like these women, the queens, they're not embodied in that confidence because they learned it. It's because they unraveled it or revealed it, or maybe for some people it's just always embodied. Maybe it's encouraged growing up, and for a lot of us, it's not. And then I see you creating that unraveling and creating the platform for people to access more of that through that movement. So, can you tell us a little bit more about the somatics of that and how the movement really makes that role?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's because going back to what happened to me when it was the masculine part of the body that shut down.
Yeah,
I'd I'd always done everything from the mind
yeah,
before that point. Before my body shut down, I was in my head. So I was very much, and I think most people who will listen to this will relate to it. It's kind of when I get there syndrome.
yeah,
So when I get the promotion, when I get that amount of money, when this person recognizes me, when I've done enough, then I'm going to be confident.
yeah,
I'm going to, when I get the body I want, that's going to be the moment. So we're playing this kind of game of future projection all the time, but we're not in it.
yeah. You're trying to buy something outside of you that you actually already own.
Exactly. So you're disassociating your identity from actually who you are. You're creating a future projection of an identity that's going to give you what you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I saw with the culture of Brazil and in Latin culture generally, which is a culture that I'm much more at home with. I think it's because I've always was such an emotional child from being born, and that was suppressed in me. You're told
Yeah.
you're sensitive or you're a bit too much, or you
Or
know,
go and cry in your room if you're gonna cry, or yeah.
yeah, stop
It's
crying.
almost, yeah, like if you're gonna do that, hide it. Don't let anyone see that part of you. This
Yeah,
isn't welcome. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I tell my mum all the time to stop telling Raina to stop crying. It's not my mum's fault. I don't blame my mum for that. I don't judge
Yeah.
her because she's just repeating what she was told.
Yeah.
So, but it's like we have to be the stop. Like it's the most healthiest thing to cry to release some emotion. There's nothing
Yeah.
better in nervous system regulation than to cry, right?
Yes. Well, that's right. It's energy in motion. And when we stop it from being in motion, i.e., you suppress it, or maybe you're so masterful at suppressing that you repress it. You don't even know that emotion came up in the first place. That
Yeah.
energy just doesn't just go nowhere. And
No, we hold it all in the
as you know,
body.
yes,
So what I saw in Brazil, and it's not like, it's not just the Queens, it's everybody, right? So I've been up to the communities and in the favelas and, they're
yeah,
all moving. So dance is
yeah,
such movement, not being a
yeah.
professional, not being, it doesn't matter how you move, you're moving.
It's
So
so interesting because if you don't mind me sharing a bit of my story, but when I left law and I was very much in this corporate space of, I was very cerebral. I was really in my head. Everything, I wanted to like mentally masturbate over every question and just think, oh, I can think my way through anything. And I was always a like straight A student, really smart. So I valued my brain so much. And, I still do. But I was completely disconnected from the neck down, except when I got so burnt out and I had to leave my job in law and then became homeless and then went into the adult entertainment industry. Then I was dancing and I was dancing non-stop. My brain had nothing left to give, but my body was moving, and that's what really brought me back to me again. That's
yeah,
what really shifted a lot for me. And yeah, another thing I noticed in that is like mirror work as well, because there's tons of mirrors around you when you're in the club and you're dancing, and you see
wow,
yourself
yeah,
so much more, and you can. When I'd see myself, I'd be like, oh, wow, I look good. And I just had a completely different relationship with myself through that process. It just built more and more. So when you're hearing this, I'm like, yeah, that makes so much sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
What an amazing story, and it's just like when you've had that experience of that journey, right? And just the interplay,
yeah,
the connection between the body and the mind. And the mind is super important because
yeah,
but we have to be able to use it in this in this collaboration and
yes,
alignment with your soul and with your heart, and
yeah,
body, where we know everything's held now.
yeah,
The science now is blowing that emotion is created in the mind. That's been blown out of the water through science. That's fact. We know
mm,
that emotion is stored in the body.
yeah,
And so when you're moving constantly or you're in movement, emotion, right? Energy, emotion,
hmm,
then you're releasing these things.
yeah,
And that's the basis of somatic work, as you know, because you're trained in it, right? Peter Levine, Dr. B, watching
yeah,
animals in the wild and
yeah,
and the way that they shake in the aftermath of an initial trauma. But
yeah.
what do? We wrap people up in a blanket, give them a cup of tea.
Yeah. Get them
You
to
know,
sit still. Yeah.
yeah, you're meant to sit still, right? You could become sedentary.
Mm,
And then, of course, as we become more sedentary as human beings in general, because of the digital age and the way that we work
yeah.
now, we're not hunting and gathering. We're not even getting off our bums a lot of the day. I spent 12 hours a day for years, just sat down.
Yeah.
That's why I've got rounded
Well,
shoulders.
same at the law firm, I was like, I lived at my desk. I ate all my meals at my desk, and then I went to twerk out my trauma in a strip club.
Well, at least you were doing that. I used to
Would
go
re
home
would
with
recommend
my,
to a friend. No,
yeah, yeah,
some people have really empowered experiences of it. Some people not so much. I would say that mine was very empowered. So yeah, I'm grateful for
yeah.
that period of my life for so many reasons.
Yeah, but it was probably divinely gifted to you because that's what you need
Yeah.
to come home to yourself, right? And you found it
Oh,
through your
completely.
body and falling
Yeah.
deeply in love with yourself through looking at
Yeah.
yourself and
And
really seeing yourself.
yeah. And it's so funny because I was so bought into the idea of like living up in my mind, in my headspace was what got me the best results and everything. And then it's like moving into my body, I'm like, oh, I was in the I was in the shallow end of this pool thinking I was an elite swimmer. And then I get down into my body, I'm like, oh, this was never stopping me. This was never blocking me. This was always the way. And it
Yeah.
kind of ties into where I think we're going next with masculine and feminine energetics as well. So can you speak to that through the lens of confidence and talk us through the difference there too?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's like, in masculine energy or masculine led energetics in terms of confidence is about performance.
Mm,
So again, it's like it's really strategic on the action.
yeah,
You'll hear a lot, and I'm not saying this is a right or wrong because I think everything has its place and it's a perception, but that confidence is a skill. You hear this talked about quite a lot in the personal development space, and I see it on Instagram a lot and LinkedIn, and books are written about it, right?
yeah.
Read a lot of books about confidence and that it's a skill. But I'm like, well, if it's a skill, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, why is it you forget it?
Yeah,
Because people, women, especially I'm working with women, they come and it's like a crisis of confidence. So
yeah,
they'll have done so many things to acquire that skill,
yeah,
progressed through the career, got married, had children, amassed lots of social activities, held down loads of friendships, and built a home. And it's like all of these things would build confidence, right? And then
yeah.
something or something within them takes it away. I'm
It's
like, well,
like contingent on
yeah.
something external. Yeah,
And so I'm like, if it's a skill, why would you just then forget it? You don't forget how to clean your teeth. You don't wake up one morning and go, oh, don't know how to do that anymore.
yeah, yeah.
So
Someone gave me a bad review at work, and now I don't know how to brush my teeth.
yeah. And then I was like, well, is it a feeling, right? Because we know that women are more sensory, we are more emotional based, right? We do have a womb, and whether
Hmm.
you're birthing from that or it's the creation hub of humanity, right? So we've got a deeper intuition than men. Men still have this. I'm not talking about gender here, I'm just talking about energetics. But so I was like, well, it's sort of in all of this, right? But then I was like, well, but is it an actual divine right and an embodiment that's there in us?
Mm.
Because from a spiritual perspective, I was like, well, everyone's confident because if you weren't, you wouldn't choose to be born again. You wouldn't pick, this is what I believe, you wouldn't pick your mom,
Yeah,
pick your dad
yeah,
and go, okay, well, let's give it another go, right? Because there's
yeah.
more stuff to be done. So that takes confidence at a soul level.
Yeah,
And,
it's
and
interesting because I feel I'm like thinking about this so much now. I read the book Journey of Souls. I don't know if you've read that one, but it's kind of hypnosis into the lives between lives, and they very much talk about as a soul when we decide to come and have this human experience and we decide where we're going to live, who our parents are, all of these things. And almost the way they talk about the souls, it's like confidence is almost non-existent just because it is. In the same
yeah,
way, you kind of need a duality of something to be able to say this is good and this is bad. But if there was no bad, there'd be no good. It just is. And so
yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, this level of confidence that is so unshakable. If the if the lack of confidence didn't exist, that's kind of how it feels in the soul world, just from what I've read and what I understood on that. So yeah,
Exactly. Like an inner knowing, really,
yeah,
that no matter what, you're going to be okay. That's
hmm,
how I describe it. This absolute alignment and connection to your inner knowing.
yeah,
That's the disconnect in the masculine and feminine. To get back to your question, is that
mm,
we've over indexed on the action, and that
yeah,
doesn't work, especially for women. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not going to talk too much about men because I'm I work with women, right? So I'm sure men
Yeah, which
experience
is
it as
also
well.
fundamentally mostly the audience that listens to this podcast.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But, we've over-indexed on that. And so
yeah.
what happens with women is that you do and do and do, but you're never feeling it. You're never connecting into it fully through the action
Hmm.
because you're masking.
Yeah.
You're in a culture, you're in a system. There's lots of things going on that are making you perform
Yeah, like I
rather,
should do it this way. And so I'm going to completely ignore my intuition that's telling me to do something else because this is the way that's going to be accepted or
yeah,
respected or whatever it is. Yeah. It is
exactly.
so interesting. It's almost like you know, coming back to your point of having your um brain tumor and thinking, well, this is happening for me and I kind of feel like I've already consented to this. It's like, yeah, if in choosing this human experience, your soul picked the curriculum that it was going to experience in this lifetime, and that was part of it. And it becomes less of this horrible thing is happening to me and more of, oh, there's this thing happening that I've fully consented to and is for my higher spiritual evolution. It's like, wow,
Exactly.
what a shift in experience.
Yeah. And I also really fundamentally believe, and this is much more of a deeper level of my work. I
Mm.
feel really confident to speak to you about it actually, this conversation. But there's also a reclamation going on here with women.
Yeah,
So going back to then this culture and me taking all of that, my work and my what I've done with the mind for 11 years and all of that training and that experience and meshing it into this somatic work that's a lot based on movement from the modality of dance, right? But it doesn't matter if you can dance, it's just getting into your body, right? And moving
yeah.
with it.
I'm a horrible dancer, by the way.
But you made a living out of it,
I
right?
can swing round a
So
pole or dance in someone's lap, but if you get me in, well,
yeah,
you can train me for Rio Carnival, but yeah, I'm
yeah.
not, I'm not
No,
what would you call a good dancer.
exactly. But it's not, the thing is, it's not about, it's not about how you look,
Yeah,
it's about the
no.
connection.
Yeah, yeah,
So
totally.
when you drop the mask and you're free, people then
Yeah,
connect with you, and that's what dance is, right? It's the interplay of energy between
yeah,
between people. But what also goes on with the Rio Carnival, which then I was like tapping into because I see things and I can feel them at a deeper level.
yeah,
I was like, well, they're just bringing all of this ancestral piece, right? So
yeah,
they're not just them on the Avenida. I'm not just talking about the Queens now, I'm talking about every single person that's in it. And there's 30,000 people performing in it in
yeah,
one night. They're channeling and it's something bigger than them
yeah.
because they're telling the stories of such fundamental parts of Brazilian history and Afro Brazilian history that were never told, you know, really dark stuff, a lot of it, slavery, imprisonment, rape,
Mm,
persecution, economic, suppression, female suppression, right? So women
yeah,
that in the reality, in the 3D reality of Rio now have become much more powerful than they've ever been because of social media, because they're now getting in to become the creative directors of schools. So there's this whole, because it was a very male-led industry, right? Which men were profiting from women going out and showing a lot of their bodies, and they weren't even getting paid.
yeah,
So all of this is changing, but there's this reclamation that as a woman, and all of our thing, but as a woman, it's your divine right to shine, and it's like when you lock into that power that's greater than you,
yeah.
feel into it and you celebrate other people around you at such in a pure way,
Mm,
raise each other up, it becomes this frequency. And that's a part of this as well, right? Doing it in community,
yeah,
really connecting with others because confidence is cosmic, right? If I really believe in you and I see you for who you are, that's empowerment. You're going to see yourself.
yeah.
And then
You're
you return it
reflecting the
back to
power
me.
back.
You
Yeah,
return it back to me. then we our souls are in this dance, right? So it's
Yeah.
never ending. And
I
so
love this so much. I'm like, everyone who is listening, say it with us. It is my divine right to shine. That if
I
that
do,
isn't going on your wall right now, I don't know what else is more important, to be honest.
yeah. So it's yeah, it's just never ending. It really isn't.
Yeah, what a gorgeous journey. And so Helen and I are in the same mastermind together. And when I joined you, one of the first people to reach out to me, invite me to a virtual coffee. And it turns out we don't live that far from each other either. But you're someone who I really see so embodied in sisterhood, empowerment, and just, yeah, reflecting people's power back to them, lifting them up. And you're just someone who I absolutely and completely adore. So thank you so much for being you. Just side note, we're not finished yet, but I just want to share my heart with you because I see you so embodied in everything you're just sharing.
Well, it's just we meet, and because you're just the same as me, right?
Hmm.
Um, I love women like they're the greatest loves of my life, and
Yeah,
I couldn't raise them up. And it'll never be done. It's just like it's everything to me. Um, to be that to be that cheerleader, to see somebody in their power and to have the privilege of doing the work that I'm doing. I'm so grateful, and I'm especially grateful for all of the hard times that I've been
yeah,
through, the pain, the depressions, the things that have really brought me to be here in this moment with you, right? Because it's just
yeah,
never stops.
yeah, that's right. And, Rio Carnival, by the way, every time I hear you talking about it, I'm like, this is such a bucket list thing to do. Like, what an incredible feeling to be part of that, as you say, this huge collective transmission. And so I know that your other business really allows people to have that experience. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So I've got like two businesses, so Complete Confidence, um, which is a business, but it's a body of work, a movement. It's a movement. And that's going through what I've talked about on this call, really taking women through different programs, different levels of interaction to complete them in their confidence so they are complete in that connection through the mind, through the brain,
Yeah,
through the being, through the body, right? And then we've got Experience Carnival. So Experience Carnival is, well, 2019, we really kind of kicked off in proper terms. So still quite a baby, 6 years, even though sometimes people think that's ages because we're always doing
yeah,
the next thing in this world. But I feel we're just getting started. And that is an experiential travel agency that allows people the platform of coming to Rio, of being on a float, dressed in the most exquisite costume. We say in our business that we're in the human emotion business, and our currency is joy, uh,
yeah,
and that this is your ultimate opportunity to become your own muse. So to stop looking outside of everything and to find that within yourself and to use ceremony because it is a ceremony, right? It's a massive ceremony where
yeah,
people are telling stories and it's deep and it's cultural, and to tap into the ceremony to crown yourself in this culture around all of these beautiful people in this community that will allow you in and embrace you. So you just feel it, right? And it's
yeah.
very overwhelming for people, when our clients come. So we have to hold the space very, very well. And me and
Hmm.
my business partner do that so beautifully together. So I'm so grateful for her. She's like my angel in my life. I love her to bits. And we love what we do. So we really hold people in that. And it changes them, it shifts them. They're not
Yeah,
the same. And so I brought that business into complete confidence. So when women are working with me, if it's one-on-one in group programs, they have the opportunity to come with me and come to Rio and have this queen moment, right? When we talk about the
yeah,
divine feminine archetypes, this is where you embody queen energy, and you are the queen of your life and the queen of your body, and you accept yourself and love yourself, and there's no better place. It's literally all shapes and sizes, all ages,
Yeah.
people 15 to 9 in their 90s who parade. Yes, the media celebrate that very toned Brazilian body, but it's not like that when you get there in reality. It is literally every single shape and size. I don't I don't experience or see, anything, any negativity around body image. I'm sure there is
Yeah.
there, but I don't feel as much as I do in other cultures. So it's
Mm,
just like there is no better place really than to just go for it, right? And just go, I'm
yeah.
here and I'm the muse of my life. I love myself from the inside out. And
Yeah.
and you make that change at a cellular level, because going back to the body, once you've imprinted that into you, it will never leave. So then I
Yeah.
coach women to say, well, okay, well, how do you take that into the boardroom or the bedroom or your relationships? Or, we keep in the frequency and we're just applying it into different ways.
Yeah.
So
So powerful. And I know you've shared with me some stories of clients who have gone on that journey to complete confidence and then even seeing them in their costumes, in their just in their element, so much that you can really see that difference in them. Do you have any favorite stories you might want to share with us?
got so many. I mean, I have a client called Yvette and she came from New York. She just celebrated her 50th birthday actually this year. She came back with us and did it. And a lot of these they come on their own, right? And I think that
Yeah.
that's an act of bravery in itself. When I speak to them, people go, "Oh, that's not that much," if they're well traveled or whatever. But I think it is. You're going into a completely different like reality from what a lot of people will live in.
Yeah.
Um, and she traveled there on her own. She was so anxious before she said yes to herself, which is a
Yeah.
big thing what we when we have, as and lots of people listen to this, we have that initiation when we're about to make a big decision.
Yeah.
Again, it's love or fear, right? It's
Yeah,
am I going
totally.
to love myself and I'm going to really love the possibility of life? Am I going to hold it myself in fear? And then we create a lot of things around that. Can't afford it, not yet, n the time's not now. We do all of that, right? Because
Yeah, exactly.
we're hedging.
Yeah.
But she just, something clicked within her and she just went for it. And it was just like watching her, because we called her the Phoenix, because she had so many moments where she was like, I'm literally dying, right? In the
Yeah.
classes and the preparation. And, we were holding it with a lot of humor, because that's the way I use a lot of humor in my work. And Samantha, my business partner, was like, we kept going, stage door left, which just stage door, you have to give her water. But she pushed herself, and she even did like the Two Brothers hike, which is a big hike. And you get up to that rock. It's a very famous image in Rio, and you can see the aerial view. You stood at the top, and it's Ipanema there, and you can see Copacabana going on the other side, and you see the big lake, Lagoa.
Wow.
But you have to go up through a favela. It's about a 4 hour hike. And she was like, I nearly died like 3 times. She kept like rising up from the ashes, and it was just, she just had this incredible journey of facing constantly her edge, you know,
Yeah.
coming to the edge and going through and going through. And just the photos of her on that flight, I've got goosebumps, I'm covered in goosebumps. It's like, it's that ultimate moment where someone just frees themselves. And
Yeah.
she said, there's something that clicked in me. And her quote, when I got a testimonial, she said, I got on there and I went to Brazil. I went on my own. I ate food that I never was going to eat before. I climbed a mountain. I died 1,000 deaths. I put
Yeah.
my big arse and, thick thighs on display, and I didn't give a damn.
Get it, girl.
I didn't give a damn. And she said,
Yes.
and I carry that energy with me
Yeah.
in every single day of my life. And
Yeah.
that's the ultimate. thing, you know. So
Totally.
I don't want, and now I'm going to get emotional again because I don't want anybody, any woman out there to forget who she is, you know.
Yeah.
And if this port, this opportunity, this this body of work could help women lock into something so fundamental that they would never forget.
Yeah.
They wouldn't forget confidence because it would just be theirs.
Totally.
That is why I do what I do.
Oh, so powerful. When you see the impact on, yeah, if more women were really locked into that, inherently connected to that inner self-worth, that inner confidence, and they could insource that at any time they needed to, bring that into their day, bring that into their businesses, bring that into their families, bring that into relationships, into the world, how elevated this experience would be. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And how
wonderful work you're
elevated the
showing in
world
the
would
world.
be, you know, because
Yeah.
when women are in their power, we are more powerful.
Yes.
And this is the reclamation of it, right? Because through fear, women were suppressed. We were suppressed at such a deep level that we're
Mm,
now in these generations where we're unraveling that.
yeah.
So it's such an important time to be alive as a woman, to be doing the work that we're doing. It's not easy at times, you know, for us doing it as people.
Yeah.
Not easy for anybody we're working with.
Mm.
Just got to keep going because this is where it really changes and
Yeah.
we get
And
it
I would
back.
question as well this idea of, it's not easy doing the work. Of course it's not. It's also not easy not doing the work, staying the same. It's not easy living a life where your confidence is so contingent on things outside of you and the feeling that you have of being disconnected to that. So you get to choose your hard if you like. And for me,
Yeah,
I know I would always choose a hard that leads me into my higher purpose, my bigger vision that leads me back to my love and not my fear. And you get to choose which one you're fueling your moves with.
yeah, it does. And it also takes community, right? You know, it's so much
Yeah,
easier when you're doing that around people who are doing the same. S-
yeah,
You know, that's why, you know, when I get to meet somebody like you and you just come into my life and it's just like straight away, it's like, yeah.
yeah,
And
sisters.
you can be that thing. And, you know, so it's really important that you find that tribe, but it might be in multiple places, right? But
Mm,
people who really, really want to see you, believe in you, lift you up. It's so important because all of that sisterhood wound,
mm,
it's so deep. It's so
yeah,
deep. And it plays out so much in my relationship still with other women. And I just only do I just send it love. I send it love because it's not them, you know, it's
yeah,
not the reality of that soul, or even if I'm up to it, because I'm not, you know, I can be guilty of it, right? And but it's just no, we're not doing that anymore, right?
yeah,
We're doing something different, we react differently in the moment and we come together and you know, because women we want to create and we want to innovate and we want to bring this magic
yeah,
into our families, into our homes, into society. And it's just like this reclamation that we can do anything. And, you know, why and what is going to stop you?
yeah. Oh, so gorgeous. And I bet everyone here is just so activated listening to you as I'm feeling. So if people want to stay in touch, where can they find you? What have you got coming up people can get involved with?
Amazing. So they can find me on Instagram. So I'm Helen Mary Parker.co and it's you'll send all my links. So find me on Instagram. So my dog's having a big, can you hear her?
Can't hear her. No.
Barking? Okay. So you find me on Instagram. There's also my website, completeconfidence.co. So I'll send all the links for that. And I've got a big launch coming up actually. So it's just going
Exciting.
out at the beginning of September. I don't know how that's going to align with this podcast, but it'll be out for quite a bit. So I'm going to have the opportunity to come and do it's a hybrid program actually. So working with me one-on-one and then some group activations, which are going to be
Beautiful.
beautiful. And you
Mm,
can choose to do an upgrade, the Queen upgrade in that program and come to Rio with me. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I just love the energy of just going to Rio and having this experience. I've got the Queen retreat, which is happening. It's on Valentine's Day this year
Oh, I
in
love that.
back on Valentine's Day, which is the first time it's been on Valentine's Day since I was in it in 2015. So the carnival happens, starts on the 13th and then runs to the Tuesday. So um,
Yeah.
I'm going to have 15 basically places to take a community of women to Rio.
Yeah.
We're going to do some work with one of these queens. We're going to do empowerment work. We're going to move. We're going to get into our bodies. And we're going to get on a flow in the most exquisite outfit with feathers and jewels
Oh my
and
God.
just have an absolute cellular changing awakening experience. So that is on the table as well. If anybody wants to do that with me, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm claiming it. I'm absolutely manifesting that. So catch me covered in
I've got
feathers
your
and
face of
glitter and
gold.
gems.
Already visualized your bum.
My bum covered in glitter and gems and
But there's
feathers. Yep.
actually, I told you this, but there's a real art and knack to blowing glitter. I mean, my business partner jokes, we go, well, we blow glitter metaphorically and actually up people's arses, but we do. Because when our clients, before they get on, we baby oil them and we
Yeah.
glitter, but you have to do it like really, and I've done a few faux pas along the 6 years, but if you like,
Okay.
it sticks. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, you have to be really like gentle with this.
Well, I can't wait
I
for a
will
glitter
blow
blowjob from
glitter
Helen.
up your bum, basically. So you have the most pristine gold bum. And I love it.
Oh, stunning. Okay, when we close out, can you share what is one practice that a woman could bring into her day to start to cultivate some more embodied confidence?
I would just say move, right? I would just literally, in whatever that feels good for you. I
Mm,
use music a lot. I start every day dancing with my daughter. So we have like a bit of a morning ritual, really. And we put on
yeah.
songs that she likes, and then I get one.
Oh, I love
And we
it.
twerk, and she gets up on her chair. This is at breakfast. And we sort of set an intention for the day, but using the body as the gateway. And
Nice.
so that's something I do, and because I like to bring the kind of the fun into it. Um, but just be with your own body, use music. It's so
Mm,
powerful. Like it doesn't matter then if you think you're getting self-conscious, you're in your own home,
mm,
get something on and move. And within that movement, maybe ask yourself a question, how do I want today to be? Or what do I want to feel today or be today? And
yeah.
see what comes back because you just get so much stuff come in when you're moving.
Yeah.
And so even like 5 minutes of that, 10 minutes of that, and even if it's in your car, right, you're on the train and you're commuting to work, get something on, allow yourself to be transported through music into a different sense, and then use that connection because it's a remembrance. Going back to this thing, music
Yeah.
helps remember, and then from that state we be, rather than, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and then I'll be all it'll be all right. So
Yeah.
that would be my one, just that's from everything in my life and also from being a raver since I was 14. I've used house music, but in samba and Brazilian culture, it's just constantly the beat, the rhythm,
Yeah.
the beat is the gateway.
I
So
love this so much. If anyone does do it and you want to share it to your Instagram and tag us, we would love to see it and love to know how you get on with this practice as well.
yeah, absolutely. I would love that. I would love
Yeah.
that. I love watching people dance on Instagram. It's like one of my favorite things because my feed is just a lot of what they send to me. It's a lot of obviously personal development stuff and things like that. But I get fed so much stuff on dance, whether it's
Yeah.
ballerinas or salsa dancers or flamenco. I love to watch people just lose themselves to dance, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like what a privilege to be able to lose yourself in that way. And even if it's
Yeah.
a few minutes, right? Because then you lock into that essence in your soul, really. And that's where if you move from there, literally life just unfolds for you, right? We
Mm.
the ego drops and everything just starts to happen.
Oh, Helen, I have loved this conversation so much. Your story is just so full of power and so full of love, and I just feel that radiating from you. So thank you for sharing all of your magic with everyone here today.
No, it's such a pleasure. And thank you for doing this podcast. Thank you for showing up in the way that you do and opening this opportunity for women to come on here and share their stories. So thank
Yeah.
you. It's a lot of work and you do it absolutely beautifully. So thank you and congratulations.
If you love this conversation, please rate the podcast. And when you take a screenshot and send it to me on Instagram at Katie Rogers Coaching, I'll send you my favorite meditation as a thank you. It's a powerful activation to awaken your miracle mindset. And we love hearing from you. So follow us, let us know your biggest takeaways. And if you feel the pull to go deeper into this work in sisterhood, I want to invite you inside of Temple of Becoming, a mastermind space like no other. This isn't about learning how to scale, it's about recalibrating the frequency of the woman inside the offer so scaling becomes inevitable. It's not about helping you get more, it's about becoming the woman who holds more with power, softness, and sovereign precision. Temple of Becoming is a recalibration chamber for the woman whose business still looks good, but is calibrated to a version of her that she's already outgrown. And you'll find all the details inside the show notes. Until next time, honeys, stay magnetic.